Let's talk to the people out there that haven't come to LA and they can't afford to come to LA yet. Okay, then be the most working person at the local film university. Like, who's ever going to feel the deepest is going to get the job. Who's ever going to compete the hardest is going to get the job. And a lot of people just don't know what they're doing. Your resume has to match your demo reel, which has to match your photos, which matches you. Now, you have to do a lot of research on who's got your part already on television. And so those of you who get called back a lot, it's because they love you, but you don't look like you're on the show yet.
Welcome everybody to episode 4 of 1000 Failures. I'm your host, Darius Marcelin, and today I have booking coach and legend Amy Lyndon in the house. And today Amy and I are going to have a conversation about the acting industry, the do's and don'ts in auditioning and all these castings you guys go to. But on top of all of that, the subtitle of today's episode is called Dreams, Goal, Plan. And these three things reside strongly with me because I know we all have these dreams where we close our eyes at night and we picture ourselves on a stage, dancing in front of thousands of people, acting on TV, having that business and seeing it do well, losing weight and just getting in shape, looking good for summer, looking good by December, traveling the world. We all have dreams where we could close our eyes and just picture ourselves going places. But these dreams could never be achieved if we don't have some sort of action towards it. Action with a purpose. And for me, those dreams must have a goal. Whether it be long-term, short-term, we all must all have a goal attached to our dreams. So if you say, all right, this year I want to achieve this. And right now, honestly, I am looking at my vision board and I have goals, May 3rd, 2020. And some of them are speaking at public events, speaking at 3 public events, starting an actors group. I wanted to have 100,000 views on my YouTube page. So go on there and subscribe, please, because I have good stuff on there. But yeah, I have my goals written down because it's tough having your dreams stuck in your head and 100,000 different thoughts. Paying bills, late in traffic. You just have all these things. So having my goals written down, and I could see it by there. Like I have it written down right in front of me. It makes it so much more real and clearer. And just to break those goals down a little bit more, I have a plan for every single bullet point goal that I have. Because without that plan, I'll be aimlessly drifting, like, you know, when you have Waze on and, you know, it does this thing where it just goes crazy and you're like stuck in the middle of nowhere, you make a wrong turn or you pass. I feel like that's what happens when you don't have a plan, when it just goes haywire. And being in a big city like Los Angeles or New York, you could get lost in that city if you don't have a plan. As actors, you're gonna hear it from back home. People are gonna say, when are you gonna be on TV? Or you see somebody book something and you're like, where's my shot? You know? But I feel like if you have a plan, you know your destiny, you know the journey, that blue line on Waze, like you know you're on there and you can say, all right, 14 miles left. I'm doing this, and I'm moving closer and closer to it. I saw something recently on Instagram and it was just saying that people always wonder and they dream, I wish I could travel. You know, you go to Bali or the Maldives or just somewhere nice and exotic. And most people would probably say like, I just don't have the money to travel. But $3 a day, which is about a coffee. $3 a day. Some of us drink coffee every single day. So times 3 by 30 each month. That's $90. Times 12, that's $1,080. You could travel. You just have to have a plan. So make that plan and let's get it. I'm on this journey with you too, so just make your plans. All right, and now to jump into this conversation with Amy. Amy's gonna talk with me about just the do's and don'ts of LA and Hollywood, how it works, and what it takes to get a manager or an agent. Amy she's a veteran in this industry. She has 50 students on network TV right now. She's a champion. She's a sweetheart, and she's no nonsense. So that's why I love her. So Amy.
Yes, Darius.
Tell me about your...
No, I'm not getting married right now.
You're not getting married right now. No.
I'm not married right now.
Amy
It
is
sounded like you could
Amy
ask me to marry
is a
him.
fireball. Anyways, Amy, I came to you, green, in Los Angeles. I had my acting techniques and everything in New York, and I came to LA, and you shook me up and said, look, this is totally different from New York. The way I audition, how I deliver my lines, everything like that. I respect you. I respect your technique. I use your technique. I want you to speak a little bit more about your technique and what you do here in Studio City, Los Angeles, California.
Los Angeles, California, Hollywood.
Hollywood.
Okay. Well, people find me. I don't really advertise, and so usually what happens is that people find me through other people, and the people that are supposed to find me find me.
Right.
You know, and so the kind of people that find me actually need to get on with their careers. It's sort of like Mama said, go get a job, and so that's when they find me, because I teach people how to get jobs. And when somebody comes to me, I find out where they are first. They first take the intensive, and I put them through the 15 guidelines, and then I get them into the program.
The 15 guidelines.
The 15 guidelines. And it just basically teaches you how to break down a script and book a job. I am like a Russian skating coach for actors.
Right.
So like an Olympic actor coach.
Right. And in LA, it's just me coming to LA 23 months ago.
Yes.
Coming to LA, it could be overwhelming for somebody new because they don't know where to go and what they're looking for.
Yeah.
You know, everyone has these different techniques and
Yeah.
everything like that. And for me, what works, you're more direct on getting the job.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people do use my technique as an acting technique, but I don't go around touting that it's an acting technique, even though it is an acting technique.
Correct.
Because, and honestly, if you don't know how what the writer is saying and you don't feel the deepest, like who's ever going to feel the deepest is going to get the job. Who's ever going to compete the hardest is going to get the job. And a lot of people just don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so the technique basically teaches you how to tell the best story possible. And it doesn't matter where you've trained. I have 50 network series regulars right now. That's a 5-0.
I know, right?
50 network series regulars, and a quarter of them have no other training other than my technique.
Wow.
And it's because whoever tells the best story is going to get the job.
Right.
And so I basically teach you guys how to read better, really, how to really see what the writer intended. And all an actor is a walking, talking, emotional vehicle for the writer.
Right.
That's all they are, really. And so you're like a channel. And so if you could allow the writer's words to speak through you. Like I had a student today, and he was what I call Kevin Costnering it. What I mean by that is that I love Kevin, but he's always Kevin Costner.
Right.
He's not Sean Penn, you know. I mean, he's not like like the Meryl Streep. He's Kevin Costner. Why? Because he takes the words and he makes them his own in how he speaks. When I basically say every line is a separate thought, the way the punctuation is how the character speaks.
Right.
And that's how you could morph into every character, is understanding how they speak.
Okay.
And then understanding where they feel. And there's a lot of schools that put the actor first and not the character. And I'm all about, if you put the character first, then you could play any character in the world.
Right.
Because you just need to find within yourself when you are this way.
What's the difference between auditioning and actually?
Well, that's the thing, you know.
Acting.
How you book it is, you know, not how you shoot it.
Right.
And a lot of people, they come here and they're like, oh, well, everybody's going to find me because I'm so great, you know? When that's not what it's about, you know? So much goes into the business and marketing and the branding and where you fit in the industry. And acting, to tell you the truth, most times is kind of last on the list. If you don't fit on that show, if you don't act like you're on that show, you're not going to be on the show. And most people, nobody teaches that. They teach everybody how to act. Well, everybody knows how to act, so what?
Yes. It's more about how you audition and how you get that across. But when I go to my classes, yeah, it's good to like develop that skill, and that's a skill to have. But with you, I learned something different about the auditioning room and how do I audition and give those 2 pages sometimes.
Yeah.
Tell that story the best. You know?
Well, the reason why I created the technique is because so many reasons why we don't get a job has nothing to do with the job itself, has everything to do with your self-esteem and getting nervous in the room, you know? A lot of people get really nervous because they feel the judgment. It's like the same reason why you became an actor sometimes is the same reason why you're not booking, is because you're going, please love me, you know? And nobody hires anybody needy, you know?
What?
And so when people come to me, they already know how to act, or if they don't know how to act, I actually rather prefer that, to tell you the truth. But I take their training and I plug it into these 15 guidelines, and then they learn how to break down a script and tell the best story and understand the tone and the style of the show. Right. And the tone and the style of a feature film, too, because all different films are different.
Right. Talk about that, because to the tone of a soap opera, the tone of a sitcom, a 30-minute tone of a feature film, and I got called into soap operas, and I always said, all right, Amy said it's very soapy, so you have to do it like this.
Well,
you know?
okay, well, what I said to you also,
all right, so
what I said to you also about soap is that you're in everybody's house every single day, so they think they know you. And people in the Midwest, they're not going to put down their iron, because that's what they're doing, they're ironing, right? They're not going to put down their iron unless your problems are worse off than theirs, okay? So your problems have to be so bad. That's why I say to you guys, you know, soapy meaning so dramatic. I mean, I've done 5 soaps, and I remember on one of the soaps, I was just having a conversation with one of the contract players, and within 3 seconds, they said, okay, action, and she was bawling. I mean, crying. They are so well-oiled. And if you're not well-oiled, then why would anybody give you a job?
Yeah.
And so soap is all about emotions. That's why they get a lot of people right out of school.
Right.
Because they're raw, you know? And we're all trying to get back to that. And then with a sitcom, there's a million kinds of comedies. But then there's a single camera, and then there's a multicam, which is when there's a laugh track. But either way, everything that you break down the same. You use the 15 guidelines, you tell the story. It's how you play it is what's going to change, according to the tone and style. So in single-space comedy, it's all about you picking up the cues, right? Remember, I always used to yell at you going, pick up your cues.
Yes.
So you're talking too slow,
yes.
you know? Pick up your cues. Said, you're in a soap opera. If you don't pick up your cues, you're going to be in a soap opera. Okay. Because then it's slow. Actually, I bet you if they sped up a soap opera, it would be really funny.
True. It'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between single cam and multicam? What's examples of?
Okay, I'll give you an example. Modern Family is a single cam. Curb Your Enthusiasm, The Middle, they're all single camera. Okay, and so it's based in the relationship. It's not based in the joke.
Okay.
And so what we laugh at is when we see Sofia Vergara, we laugh at her behavior.
Right.
And so when we put her behavior with somebody else that's completely different, that's what makes it funny.
Right.
Now, situation comedy, which is 4 cameras, right? It's based in the situation. That's why it's called situational comedy.
Right.
Like in Friends, they had that whole thing about the monkey, right?
Yeah.
And so the situation was always about the monkey,
Yeah.
right? And so the series regular is the joke.
Right.
So the joke is the series regular in a multicam,
Right.
and you just you support the joke.
So the tone in which you do those different types of comedy is just totally different.
It's totally different.
Right.
Because the double space comedy, there's a laugh track, and it's all based in the situation and what's going on at that moment. But you've got to hit that joke.
And if I'm coming from Nebraska, Montana, and I'm moving to LA, I don't know that.
Okay, I'll give you an exercise. You ready for an exercise?
All right.
Okay, I call it the Will and Grace exercise, okay? So I used to tell you to do this, right? It's the Will and Grace exercise. So you pick an episode, you pick a character, and you write it out, and then you do it with them. I suggest Sean Hayes because he's a genius, okay? And so you do it with him, and then you understand how fast the pickup is, how big you can go. A lot of people think they're not going big enough. They're going too small. They're afraid of going over the top. Well, then tell Sean Hayes that. Tell Jamie Foxx that. Tell the late Robin Williams that. Tell Jim Carrey that.
Yeah.
They're over the top, but they're in truth,
Yeah.
right? So now a single space, know the story. It's just a fast drama as far as I'm concerned.
Right. Right. So that in itself it's something that coming to LA not knowing about the industry.
Oh, nobody's gonna.
All you're gonna think is I'm doing a comedy, but there are different types of comedy. There's a difference between an independent film and a big budget feature
Yes.
film. There's a different way that you audition for these.
Yeah.
And the person who is auditioning in that room who doesn't know the difference might be at a disadvantage. Is that
Well,
true?
then, look, I had two girls that were both going to network from my technique just a couple of weeks ago, and one of them booked it. You know, so it's like either you have the technology and the information or you don't.
Okay.
And so people usually come to me for several reasons. One of the reasons is because they're afraid their agent's going to drop them. I'm like, well, why'd you wait like 15 auditions or 100 auditions, whatever, before you even came to me? So you came to me without any of that,
Right.
which is actually better, which is why you started booking,
Right.
like right away.
Yeah, you definitely gave me confidence. One thing I could say is that I had confidence because I knew what they were looking for now. So I knew if it was a short film, indie, a feature, comedy, I knew what to look out for.
You knew what you were doing.
I knew what I was doing. So that
Yes.
it eliminates some of the nervousness.
Yeah, the nervousness comes from not knowing what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah. And one of the guidelines is, what am I doing?
Right.
Okay? So, I mean, if you want the information, it's there for you. It's just a lot of people are so stuck in their ideas and concepts, the way they think things should be, you know, and they kind of live in like la la land.
Yeah.
But if you look at how hard these people work, I mean, you see how hard you worked when you booked those jobs, right? Your competition just didn't work as hard.
Right.
They didn't want it as much.
Right.
They just didn't.
And getting into, now I'm going to talk about just getting into the room.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a new actor coming to LA. How do I get into the room? Tell people the process of building up themselves. You know, there's just so many different ways of getting into an audition room. People think that I'm moving to LA, I'm going to be an actor, I'm going to audition for these shows. But the reality is, and I understood that when I moved, and just because of getting information, that it's going to be a journey. You know, and yes, I might get lucky to meet somebody, to get into a room, 1% chance, but the majority of people, we have to get our credits done, we have to get our reel, our profile ready, everything that, before we even talk about these audition rooms.
Yeah.
What advice would you have
I love when
for
people
Green
go,
Darius coming to LA?
Okay. I love when people go, oh, why don't you just get on a soap opera? Like, it's so easy.
Right.
And they say that all the time outside of Los Angeles. I don't understand why you don't get in that movie. That guy's just like you.
Yeah, he
and
looks
you're like,
like you,
yeah.
My mom says every black guy with like a fade and a haircut, oh, that's Darius. That should be you.
That should be you.
That should be you.
Because, Mom, it's so easy.
It's so easy, man.
Yeah. I don't think they really understand how difficult it is until they're actually in the trenches.
Right.
and you've got to get in the trenches, you know. The first thing I would say is if you were going to come to Los Angeles, come with at least 3 years of a lot of money.
Right.
Wouldn't you agree with that?
I would say you have to have a backup.
Yeah, you need a
need a
lot
solid
of
backup.
money. And the reason why I say that is because it takes about a year to put together your package. Didn't it take you about a year?
It took me about a year.
Yeah. See?
And the thing about the package, I believe myself, and this is nothing to do with just the acting industry, but if you are putting out a representation of yourself, wait till it's really good, because that first time, like, there's thousands of actors in Los Angeles that look just like me or whatever, but I want my headshot to be on a good piece of paper. I want a good headshot. I want everything professionally. I want my reel to look good.
I agree
because
with you.
the first impression I have of an agent, they'll be like, no, it was like half-hearted.
Also, you know what? The casting directors don't forget. So you have to be careful about that. A lot of people are practicing on the casting directors. I'm like, what are you practicing on them for, you know? And if you go in and you're too green, chances of you getting back in that office not going to happen for quite some time.
Wow.
They just don't forget. So you're right in saying, do not put yourself out there until it's got to be, you know, it's your army. You know, your soldiers have to be lined up.
What's the soldiers? What's the
Okay,
soldiers?
well, it's called the comprehensive package, okay? So your demo
have a name
reel,
for it.
what?
I love that you have a name for it.
Yes, it's a comprehensive package.
package.
Yeah, I even have a course called the comprehensive package course.
Right.
101 and 102. So your resume has to match your demo reel, which has to match your photos, which matches you.
Right.
Now, you have to do a lot of research on who's got your part already on television. So you say, okay, who's got my part? All right, what are they wearing?
Right.
So you have to know what they're wearing. Because if you don't look like you're on the show, you're not going to be on the show. It's just not going to happen. And so those of you who get called back a lot, it's because they love you, but you don't look like you're on the show yet.
Wow.
Like, I remember many years ago, I auditioned for JAG, which is a military show.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it, you know? They kept calling me back because the casting director wanted me to be part of that group of solid actors for her producers to see.
Right.
The producers loved me, but didn't give me a part. And then I was like, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. 4th time, I'm like, what the heck is wrong? Oh, snap. I said, oh, snap. Oh, snap. It's a military show. So I didn't walk in. I got to walk in like I'm in the military. I have to sit like I'm in the military. I have to be buttoned up like I'm in the military.
How did you walk in?
Like I was in the, like I sat up straight in the chair, even though I was in the brig. They put me in the brig. But the way I walked in, the way I held myself, looked like somebody that was in the military.
Right.
You know, female in the military.
So as soon as you get into
And
that
then
room,
that's when they booked me.
Wow. So as soon as you got into that casting room, you just walked in there like you were in the military.
Yeah, like I was in the military. Well, because what you need to understand is that they didn't know why they weren't giving me the job.
You wasn't giving it to them.
Because I didn't look like I was already on the show.
Right. And the second you look like you were on the show, you booked it.
Snapped. It was in, that was it.
These are gems, Amy. These are so good.
It's crazy
These
stuff.
are so
It's
good
crazy
that you
stuff.
don't think about
Nobody
when we're
thinks
back
about
home and we're taking theater, you know, this theater thing, and we're back in our high school and we're moving out to LA, and it's like we don't think to look at the actual show. People say, I don't watch TV. But how could you be on a TV show if you don't watch TV?
I have such a problem with that.
Drown on TV, and I'm a firm believer of this is another one. This is a true story. So my friends and I, one day we just flicking the channels and we were watching Grownish. This was like a few months ago. We were watching Grownish and I was like, oh, this is so funny. It's like so real, whatever. And I was like, wow, this is, you know, I could see myself in like one of these roles. Next day, I got auditioned for Grownish.
Oh.
And then I knew what the tone of it was.
Exactly.
But if I have never watched it,
how are you gonna know?
Apart from the manifestation thing of it,
yeah.
Apart from me, then I now understood what the show was. Then I got called in.
Yeah, you see how that is? But that's the thing, you know. I had a guy in one of my intensive workshops because we were talking about like, what's your issue, blah blah blah, and he says, well, I was getting called back a lot for the bridge, and I wasn't booking. I'm like, how many times did you watch it? He said twice, and I was like, what? If I was called back 6, 7 times for a show. You better be certain I would have like watched every single season.
Ask my
And
friends. I watch Young and Restless now all the time because
Yeah.
I've got called back in 5 times, and I'm like,
You're like,
you know,
what's the wrong?
Yeah, I was
What's
like,
wrong?
but as you saying it right now, I even just got school. I'm like, maybe I'm not too young and restlessly enough.
Yeah,
You
you're
know?
probably moving around.
I'm probably. She tells me stay still.
Yeah, you're probably
You tell me
moving
so.
around because nobody moves on soap operas.
Wow. You have all these gems. I could just stay with you all day long.
Dude, nobody moves on soap operas. As a matter of fact, they shoot it from the chest up.
Right.
So you know, some of these mamas, they could be really big butted, but you would never know.
Right. See, Amy has the
Because they never shoot from like way away. They always shoot from the waist up. So if you're moving around, then you're moving around in your close up.
Yeah. Wow.
You can't be moving.
All right.
There's no moving.
Note to self.
No
Don't
moving.
move around Darius.
No
I just
moving.
picture you yelling at me like
Yes,
you do in
do
class.
it. Do it.
Yell at me.
No moving.
All right, cool.
No moving. And even on 1 hour episodics, they don't move either. They move on sitcom because a lot of it is, I'm not talking single space, I'm talking double space.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you have to physicalize the
There's
joke.
a lot of
you know,
jokes are physical.
which
yeah.
is different. And Nickelodeon and Disney. You know, I had like 5 kids on Nickelodeon Disney shows at the same time.
Wait, just so we go into talking about kids. When I came to your class and I saw how many kids were in your class
Yeah.
and how talented they are.
Unbelievable.
And like this, like the world has to know how much talent you have in your class. It's insane.
Crazy.
It's insane.
Yeah, the kids, I'm doing Co-Star. You remember Co-Star Night?
Co-star
Yeah.
night?
There were, I don't know, like 15 kids or whatever. And we couldn't pick
Who would have booked the job?
who would have booked the job. We couldn't even pick. And so we had to like really break down the show and we had a really hard time picking.
Yeah, parents, if you have kids out there,
Unbelievable.
Amy's class, it's literally a competition, and it's so intensive. and
Yeah, it's like Dance Moms, but with actors.
The
Yeah.
quality is so high. I'm like, I dropped my jaw because I have not seen that. Like coming from New York, I seen like grown people act, but seeing kids just go off book in an hour. These kids are going off book in an hour, and this is just anyone hearing this out there in East Coast, Midwest, wherever. Like this is the quality and the intensity that the training that you have.
Well, that's the thing, because everybody's got to be in on it.
Right.
Because that's the thing, you know. Let me talk philosophically for a second.
I'm
Okay?
with it.
Yeah.
I'm all philosophical.
If everybody in your life is not moving in the right direction with you, as an actor, since we're all empaths,
Okay.
we're going to pick it up. Okay? And so the parents, what I do is I spend a lot of time schooling the parents on how to talk to the kid before the audition. I actually had a therapy session, one time with one parent, and then another time with another parent with the kid because of how they talk to the kid. It's all about power. Booking is about power. And if you're not focused and powerful, then why would anybody want you on their team?
Right.
It's just dodgeball all over again. Do you ever play dodgeball in your country?
No, we don't.
You're kidding. You don't play dodgeball?
We
What do you play?
we played soccer with tennis balls. Soccer with tennis balls.
Okay, well, let's say that ball is like really big and you're throwing it at somebody, okay? And if it hits you, you're out. Well, when you pick teams though, right?
We do pick teams.
Okay, so who'd you pick?
Pick me first.
Well, of course, because you're strong.
Pick the fastest, the strongest.
The
most
strongest. The strongest, most powerful got picked first.
Right. And that's the same.
All the artists were like, "Don't hit my face," you know. Yeah, and that's the same with life. That's the same with anything that you want to do in life. Life is like dodgeball. And if you don't feel the power, if you don't feel powerful, why is anybody going to want you around? And even on the television shows, they want a powerful person so they don't have to worry about you. Casting wants to just like cast those co-stars and not even think about you.
Right.
But if you come in with that U-Haul backing up,
They don't have time for that.
they don't have time for that. And it's going to make them look bad. And so if there's any kind of dysfunction that you have at all, you got to check it at the door.
How do you move to LA and I'm alone? What advice you would give to somebody who wants to check that at the door? It's so
Well,
hard.
find a good therapist. I think it's really important to find a good therapist, find a good physical thing that you can do for yourself to release all of that stuff, you know? And do not hang out with actors and sit around and bitch and complain. Don't do it. Get out there and fall on your face a couple million times. Or
Yeah.
shall I say, fail a couple of thousand times. And then you'll see what you're made of.
Right.
But don't sit around and be a baby. Oh, wah, nobody's taking me. Well, nobody's taking me because you don't have it together.
Right. What would you say that applies to getting an agent and a manager? Because
Applies to everything.
yeah.
Applies to everything. You know, I have an amazing business and booking site for actors called theactorstoolbox.net. Go there, listen to every single lecture, and get yourself checked.
Yeah.
Watch, you can learn the technique on there too. But it's really, really important that you understand the concept that it's not only about being a great actor.
It's more to than that.
You have to have your mental self together, you have to have your marketing package together, and you have to know what it's like to compete like a champion.
Yeah, I did not compete. When you have a co-star night, and that competition, it brings something out of you, you know, like the ability to even say, okay, let me try to go off book a little bit faster. Let me try to hit these cues a little bit stronger, because you know someone else in this class is going to do that, you know.
Yes.
So that competition and that fire brings it out, and that's why you moved to LA.
Well, if you're not practicing, and I don't care where you live, you don't have to come to LA, okay? So let's talk to the people out there that haven't come to LA and they can't afford to come to LA yet, okay? Then be the most working person at the local film university.
Correct.
Because universities have film departments in every single state.
Right.
And work in every single movie that they have going. Work in everything that comes to town, industrials, commercials, whatever you can do. And build yourself up. And don't come to LA without a reel or something. Because you had a reel, didn't you
Yeah,
have?
I had a reel.
What
Yeah,
did you have when you got here?
I had a few like co-star roles on TV stuff in New York.
Oh, okay. What'd you do in New York?
Just a couple of the procedural like co-stars on like cop shows. I did
Yeah,
60
like-
Days of Murder and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I had like little one roles.
Yeah,
few
but
seconds
but
of-
you started with some
I
co-stars.
started with that.
Yeah, and there's plenty of cities that television work is like Chicago, Atlanta, New Orleans. Build your resume.
Yeah, I even heard people driving. Even if you live close to Chicago, you would drive there
Yes,
to see how far, to push yourself to see if you could book those jobs in Chicago.
learn how to book. Learn how to book. I mean, because you came to me a great actor, but you weren't booking.
Right.
So it's like, well, you could take all that and do what with it,
Yeah.
So you're just a great actor that can't understand the concept of landing the job, closing the job, and not worrying about how it went or what anybody thought.
And it's another thing too. It's knowing what they're looking for. I think that in getting that in my mind makes things a lot clearer. Makes the script clearer. Makes what I'm about to do clearer. I think getting the education and the knowledge from you and just from in town and just trying and failing, but knowing what they like and just asking questions. What they expect from me on this type of film. Sometimes on network TV, they want it word for word. They want the
Yeah,
script
they have
word-
to have it word
They
for
have
word
to
on
have it word
network.
for word.
But film is different, though.
Film is different.
Yeah, because the difference between film and television, honestly, television is really more story, series regular driven, Film is really more character driven.
Right.
And so that's why there's a lot of actors that tried to move from television to film that weren't able to.
Right.
Because they weren't complex and interesting enough. So you must
They
be
had
interesting.
They had
'cause you're-
everything written.
You must be interesting because you're booking film.
Yeah,
Yeah, because you have to be a deep, strong actor in order to sustain a really big screen.
Right.
Otherwise, they'll get bored. I mean, you got to ask yourself, am I worth $20? Because isn't that how much it is now to go to the movies? Am I worth $20 to go see this person? Am I worth
Right.
it?
Or am I with a TV subscription?
Yes, yeah, with
Right.
somebody like I was watching Sandra Oh in Killing
Eve.
Eve. Oh my God. And I was like, what do you mean I don't have the next episode? So, seriously. So, hey, that got me. I went on Amazon, I bought it, so I had to
She
see
was
it.
worth it.
She was worth it.
So you have to ask yourself that.
So
am I
was the
worth
girl
it?
that she worked with. Are you worth it? Did you compete in high school? Did you compete in high school? Weren't you? You didn't run track or
Oh, I
anything?
played soccer.
Okay,
I
you
played soccer my whole life. Yeah,
Okay, so then you understand the art of competition.
I do understand you have to competition.
It's the same thing, guys.
Cool. Amy, so just question out there, and I know it's coming from a lot of people. And
Did I answer the questions though?
You
Because I
answer.
kind of go off. You know?
Go off, but you give it answer a lot of juice, and
Oh,
it's
okay.
good. It's good.
Good.
It's there's a lot of juice in your answers.
Okay, juicy is good.
So, Amy, I'm coming to LA.
Yes.
We're talking about this package.
Yes.
I want to know about the package. I want to know what it takes for me to get a manager, agent. What should I get first, agent, manager?
Okay, I promise I will answer this question this time.
Yes.
Okay, I promise I will answer it.
This is me yelling at you.
Coming to LA. You just got off the Greyhound bus.
You just got to go.
And you have your one
Oh, we
suitcase.
drove across in
Yeah,
that little car. Mom and dad packed us up.
That's right. You drove across, or you got on a whatever.
And they said you have to
Okay.
get a manager, agent.
Yes.
What do I do?
Okay, what do you do? The first thing you do is you figure out who's got your job on TV. And then the second thing you do is you go to IMDb Pro and you find out what they're wearing. And the third thing you do is you find a reputable photographer and you interview them, because if they have a stinking personality, you don't want to shoot with them.
Right.
Like, I don't like shooting with people that don't shut up. You know what I mean? Sort of like hairdressers or makeup artists. I literally tell them, do not give me a makeup artist that talks a lot.
I love it. You are such a boss lady.
Yeah, I'm the OG.
You are the OG of Studio City.
That's right, the OG of Studio City.
All right. So
Okay, so then you get your pictures. Then you have, but you have to sit down and write a bio for each look that you're going for.
This is
now,
important.
the reason why you do that is so that you're not taking the photo session, you're acting the photo session.
Okay.
You're an actor, act. And make sure that you don't have the photographer run your session. Nothing like, oh, I didn't see you in that shirt. And then inevitably when people come to me for me to pick their pictures, I will never pick the picture of the random shirt.
Right.
Because it's not filled with anything. It's filled with randomness.
Yeah.
But if you look like you're on that show and you look like a new series regular, or you could be in TV Guide, I'll pick that picture.
So use me for example right now.
Yes.
What I'm wearing. What do you see me as? I mean, I think we both know who I am, but
Yeah.
what do you see me as, and what kind of shows you see me on?
Power.
Power.
Yeah.
Right.
Ballers.
Ballers.
Yeah. And somebody that just graduated med school
Okay.
and is heading into New Amsterdam,
Mm-hmm.
Grey's Anatomy, The Resident.
Mm-hmm.
You're the new doctor.
I go out for doctors.
Yeah, see. Then you're the new surgeon in town. I also see you on Empire as a music producer.
I've auditioned for Empire,
See,
and I've
see.
yeah.
Do I know my shit or what? Okay. I also see in a public speaker, like a guru, like a Tony Robbins. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
Yeah. That people would follow. Maybe you had an affair with one of the girls
Mm-hmm.
in the group, and something happened to her, and the police are interviewing you.
Right.
That's a good scene, huh?
Yeah.
Which brings me to that once you have the pictures, I need you guys to start writing some scenes. But don't have some random person shoot it. As a matter of fact, if you go to...
Amy, you shoot.
Yeah, I shoot. I have an episode coming out on how to shoot demo reels. Yeah, I shoot. Actually, I'm going to Chicago on Thursday. I wrote 6 comedy scenes, and I'm shooting them with 12 actors. I'm shooting their comedy reels
And that's where we will jump on to next. But
Yeah.
before we go to the real part, I just wanted to let everyone know you just identified characters of me, characters that I actually do like as well, and I go out for, and that's like so important to know who you are, what type of roles
Yeah,
you
you're
go
also
for.
somebody's boyfriend.
I'm always somebody's boyfriend.
See?
Everything
I
I've
told
played,
you!
I've always been
I'm
the boyfriend. She
good!
is. I have played.
Oh, but you also could be somebody's gay boyfriend.
Fine,
Yeah.
I can do that as
Yeah,
well.
you're like,
But-
give me a paycheck. I don't care.
No, but last 4 jobs I've done, been boyfriend, the
There
lead
you
role
go.
in that.
Yeah.
So, but it's important to know that, and people say I don't want to be typecast as anything. That's
No,
what
please,
people say.
please be typecast.
People say I don't want to be typecast. I'm like, you don't have a career right now. You have no cast. So best to be a typecast. Best to pick yourself. Pick certain things that you want to focus on. So it's like me trying to say I want to get into sitcom comedy and wear yellow shirts and this. And I know that's not me, and it's not trying to say that I'm not trying to work, but I want to focus on a certain amount of shots that look like me. I want my reel to kind of look like what I want to go out for. So if I didn't have a reel and I moved to LA, what should I do?
Well, just make sure that you're writing something that looks like it's on television.
So you could write your own reel.
Yeah,
to make
yeah.
it-
As long as it looks like it's on television, and the way that it's shot, it has to be shot like it looks like it's on television. Like it has to look like a show that they're familiar with. If casting looks at your package and it doesn't remind them of something that's already working, then you're not going to get the job. So stop being so creative. Create within the box that is given to you, and when you're a star, you get to do what you want.
She's such a boss lady. But it's true. And people get creative and they want to shoot an iPhone or drone, a far shot on a drone, walking on the street, and it's really like, this is it here, our conversation. What type of, make it look professional. And I mean, you
It
shoot
has to already look like
Amy
it's something.
shoots her own. She does a real package and everything like that. So
Yeah, no, I could help people, but if you don't live here, I would say come here to shoot it.
right.
And I always pair people up with the right people that they could shoot it with, because you want to play tennis with a better player. So everybody comes up. But going back to the photo session and the demo reel, make sure you guys always know what's behind you. Because you could shoot like the most greatest scene ever or shoot the greatest photo ever, and it's either not matching for the photo what's behind you. You shoot a lot of photos. Or what's behind you in your reel is not reality. It's not something real. So if you're going to do it right. Like spend money.
Right. So again,
Do it right. Again, what?
that comes to what you present to the world. You have one shot. If they see something that's half-assed or something like that, even though your performance might be good, you might be looking good in the photo, and the quality is just poor. This is not what.
Unfortunately, they're not going to see past it.
Right. Because you have too many.
They're
people,
not going
right?
to go. There's too many people that got it right.
Right.
So they're not going to see past it. They're not going to say, you know what, I really see that you're a great actor. Those days are gone. Unfortunately, those days are gone. That was like even way before I got here to LA. People were discovering people and creating them, and studios would develop them, and managers. There's very few managers. When I was a manager, because I was a manager for 9 years, but I sat down and said, okay, what is your career? Let's lay it out. Today, nobody has time. So if you don't look like your package is like a Snapchat, I got to get it within how long is Snapchat before it goes away?
15 seconds.
Wow, that's long.
So let's see.
That's actually a long time.
Right.
Okay, 15 seconds. If I don't get your photo and demo reel and you in 15 seconds, then you're not going to sign with the agent and manager. They're going to say something like, God, you're really terrific, but I don't know what to do with you.
Right.
Or they'll say something like, you're too development.
And as you said, no one has time to develop somebody.
They just don't do it anymore.
Right.
So you have to almost be pre-packaged Because everybody's looking for somebody to help them. They're not going to help you. Like when people come to me and I sit down with them, they're like, oh, God, where were you like 7 years ago? And I'm like, well, where was I when I started?
Right. So,
You know?
so a person could come to LA without a reel, develop amazing reel,
Yes.
have headshots and everything like
Yeah, all you need is like 3 different scenes, but just make sure that it looks great, okay? And then, so you have your photos, and then a resume is a whole nother Oprah. I mean, it's a whole conversation about billing and everything like that. I have a sample resume on theactorstoolbox.net, so go there. And I have sample interviews, and I have, and I'm talking to branding experts. I'm talking to like 1 million people on there. But educate yourself.
Yeah.
Educate yourself, and if your billing doesn't look right, like for instance, people are writing short next to a film, okay?
Right.
So in parentheses it'll say short, right? So what does that say to you?
To me, that looks low budget.
But what does it say if they
You don't know what you're doing.
that you don't know what you're doing because it sounds like you can't do anything longer.
Right.
If you're writing in parentheses next to your film credit short, why would I think
That
you could do a
longer
feature?
Okay, gotcha.
So you just told me that's what you're doing.
And
So people don't understand these things, and there's 100 people telling them 1 million things, like put your latest credit down. It's got to go first. Well, if nobody knows your indie film, why would they know that?
yeah.
Why would they know when it came out, if it came out, when you shot it? They don't know the left side, they don't know the right side, but they do know your billing.
Right. So a true story, when I came to you, you have a session that you could do one-on-one. You go over your actors access.
Oh, did I do that for you?
You did that.
Oh,
for me. So that's why I
good.
learned about
Good, yay.
each headshot should
Yeah.
be a different Darius.
Yeah.
This headshot should be detective Darius, intriguing Darius, happy Darius. Each headshot should tell a different story.
Yes.
And I label my reels differently so
Yes.
that they could see it easily.
Right.
So it is possible. You know? It is possible.
It's possible for anybody. Like I said to everybody in class the other night, I said, okay, any one of you next week might not be here, not because you like died or something, but you're on a show. You know,
So it's possible.
anyone, you guys, any one of you, it could happen for any one of you. Like next week, you can get, what is it, Queen of the South?
Yeah.
Do you go out on that?
I haven't gone out on
Oh,
that.
okay. So they could call you for Queen of the South tomorrow. And you could be like, oh, well, looks like the podcast's on hold.
No,
Because
podcast is coming.
Yeah, because I got a series regular, you
Right.
know? But I'm just saying it happened. Like Hosea Chanchez, okay? Did you see him on the game? He played Malik on the game.
Yeah.
He was my student
I love that
forever, okay? And then he started booking a lot of commercials, and then he actually got the call pretty much when he was in my class that he got the game. He was on that show 10 years, guys.
Wow.
He had like hardly any credits at all when he got Malik.
What do you think stood out for you about him in your class? Like what in him in your coming to your class? What stood out? What do you
He
remember?
was hungry.
Everyone's hungry.
He sat in every single class he wasn't in. He did every single assignment. He did every single guideline. He stayed till the end of class. Because I usually say you can leave when you're done, because it's a professional class. I'm not your mother, I'm your coach, you know? So he stayed for everything. He loved it so much. And he went out on anything and everything. And he really worked his personality.
What was his
Because Hosea has a great personality. He's charismatic. So if you saw Malik, the character Malik on the game,
I
you know,
watched it.
he's crazy. He's fun.
Yeah.
It's a fun character.
Wow.
But he's one of mine.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Crazy, huh?
So this podcast is called 1,000 Failures. And to wrap, for me, failure is even in the classroom. It's how many times I went to your class, I stood up there, you yelled at me for staying still because I'm always so dramatic in New York and moving around. But you would tell me, you know, for this type of thing, you know, we stay still.
I was also talking to you a lot about channeling your emotions through the line.
Right.
And allowing it to lead rather than the line.
Right.
Leading with your emotions, leading with your emotions.
Right. So how would you, with me going back and forth over and over in your class, and I've learned so much and grew so much since I moved here, for a new person coming to LA, they just got here, and they don't.
Are we back to that again?
We back to
I
that
already
because-
gave you the package story.
This is package story, but this is. I'm doing auditions now.
Oh, okay.
And some people, when you get that first audition and you don't get it, what does that say about that actor? Does it say A, Y, Z? What does it say about that actor failing that audition and having to go back?
Failing an audition?
Yes.
Well, what I always tell people is leave the audition and think about what went well first. Because we as actors, we're always beating ourselves up. Do you notice that?
Yes.
And we have to work so hard at not beating ourselves up because it affects the next one and the next one. And the more you don't book, the more you don't book. You know?
Right.
I say look at what worked and then work on your weakness. Make your weakness your biggest strength and keep auditioning for people that don't matter, because that one audition that's going to change your entire life is going to come out of nowhere. It's going to come out of nowhere, and it's going to be the least convenient one, too. You just, like, booked a plane ticket to go somewhere. Did that ever happen to you?
Yeah.
You book a plane ticket to go somewhere, and then you get a huge audition.
Right.
It's almost God's way of saying, how much do you want it?
Yeah,
you know?
That's the one.
Yeah, that's the one. And so if you don't practice on other people that don't matter, then how are you going to be ready for the one that does? And so you're just not working hard enough. I think if you guys start looking at it like you're at the free throw line, I mean, how many times do those guys stand at the free throw line?
Hundreds.
Right. Well, these actors, they think they take a class once a week. They're going to book a big job. How is that going to happen? Do you know who's taking your job? The person that's at the free throw line throwing in baskets.
Dope.
That's who's taking your job. And how bad do you want it? I don't think people realize. And let me just shed some light on something. The first 70 people that audition, they suck. Okay? I mean, just listen at the door. You guys listen at the door. I listen at the door and go, okay, that one's out. That one's out. That one's out. That one's out. Oh, wait. Okay, this one's good. I better watch out for that one, right? Okay? So listen at the door. I think you guys, we all insulate ourselves and we get to an audition and we're like, where did all these people come from? There's so many.
Yeah.
Because we never get out.
Right. So get out
and
there.
Get out there. And so 30%, 15% of the 15 out of the 30, they either worked it too hard, went out partying, didn't take it seriously. So that's 15. So it's the last 15 you got to worry about. And out of those 15, I would say the last 5, it's anyone's game. And how are you going to beat them? Brilliance is in the specifics. You sit down with every single line, every single punctuation, every single action, every little thing, and you comb that shit through. And you're going to pick up what they missed. But that's not going to happen if you read it once and say, I got this, or hey, you know. And now we have the self-tape stuff, right? You guys, you could keep self-taping till you get it right. I don't know, like years ago, you go into a room, that's it, you're done, you know? You screw up, you're done.
Yeah.
Why are people sending in, like, self-tapes? Like, You're sending in great self-tapes, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I try. I do it 100 times.
See?
There we go.
He does it 100 times. You see?
Amy, it was amazing.
Did that turn off?
That one did, but we still.
Oh, we don't need to do it.
We-
We're on
podcast.
podcast.
We're here.
How long have we been talking?
48 minutes.
Oh my God!
Amy.
We have so much to talk about.
No,
Okay.
It was amazing.
Amazing. Thank you. I love you. I love you. I love you.
Thank you so much.
And you guys, he's gonna get a series.
She's gonna get
Mark
serious.
my words.
Thank you, Amy.
I love you.
Love you.
Yes, Amy Lyndon, live and in person. Wow. If you want to find more information about Amy, her Instagram is Amy Lyndon, and her website is thelindontechnique.com. And there you can find out all the information about her programs, her consultations, her classes. And she's definitely the first person I refer people to when coming to Los Angeles. She will help shape your career. This interview is right now on YouTube, so if you want to see this interview and just our funny interactions, I have a condensed version that's like 10 minutes long on YouTube, so that should be cool, and a little bit of B-roll from this conversation that we just had. Yeah, so if you could rate my podcast, give me 5 stars, please. That helps me get up in the ratings, and I just keep doing this thing, helping other people. So I'd appreciate it if you could go on, subscribe, and rate my podcast. Thank you guys so much. And next week I have a casting director coming on the show. He's going to give a lot of insight on to how they pick actors, how they cast different things, what's the life like, and as a casting director. That should be really fun. So stay tuned next week Wednesday, every Wednesday, 1000 Failures. Plug me on when you're driving home, you're in the gym, and share it with all your actor friends. Get everybody involved. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.